The propaganda movement was a literary and cultural organization formed by the Filipino elites such as Graciano Lopez Jaena, Mariano Ponce, Marcelo del Pilar, Antonio Luna, Pedro Paterno, and Jose Rizal. They were also called Ilustrados. The organization's objectives were to get equality between Spaniards and Filipinos, to get the recognition of the Philippines as a province of Spain, and to give recognition to the human rights of the Filipinos. The structure of the propaganda movement was with the use of their official newspaper called La Solidaridad. They used pen names to hide their identity. Antonio Luna, for example, was Taga-Ilog and Jose Rizal was Laong-Laan. La Solidaridad was used to spread awareness to the Filipinos regarding the injustices of the Spaniards. But then unfortunately it could not reach the masses because of the Ilustrados' high status. They did not have enough money for publication, and their primary aim was to protect their personal interests. Therefore, it resulted to disputes among the leaders. And the end of the propaganda movement. The execution of Gomburza was on February 17 of the year 1873 by the Spanish colonial authorities. It was because of this particular event that enraged many Filipinos, including our national hero, Jose Rizal. The term Gomburza is an abbreviation of the names of the three martyred Filipino priests, Gomez, Burgos, and Zamora. Father Gomez was a graduate of canon law and theology in the University of Santo Tomas and became a priest in the parish of Bacoor, Cavite. It's because of him fighting for the rights of Filipinos that the Spaniards suspected him to be a part of the Cavite Revolution. Father Burgos was a doctor of philosophy. Because of his intellectual gifts, other Spaniards felt threatened, unlike General de la Torre, who applauded his talents until he was replaced by Izquierdo, who was appointed by Spanish friars. Father Zamora, the youngest of the three, attended Colegio de San Juan de Letran, where he finished Bachelor in Arts and proceeded to the University of Santo Tomas, graduating with Bachelor of Canon and Civil Laws. Workers in the naval shipyard of Cavite were willing witnesses to the three priests that were tried and sentenced to death by garrote. Father Gomez was the oldest and had a heroic death. Father Zamora was said to have died naive and confused and ended with a whimper. Father Burgos was hoping for a reprieve that never came until he met his death and then soaked in his own tears. Their ending opened a new beginning for Filipinos, known as the propaganda movement.
Of all of Rizal's works, it was his novels that caused his death. In Belgium, he wrote Noli Me Tangere in Spanish, which is Latin for Touch Me Not. There, Rizal exposed a shocking tapestry of the Philippines that made his novel the most influential political novel in his time. Though the book was a success, it was condemned by the colonial government and the church. Friars claimed that reading the book is equal to a mortal sin because it supposedly contained heresies. Despite that and not all Filipinos knowing Spanish, the book was still a success. Soon after, Rizal published El Filibusterismo, where he warned Spanish authorities of an impending cataclysm. These two novels that exposed the true nature of authorities of both the church and the government made Rizal a target of both that state and the church. At 6 a.m., Captain Dominguez read Rizal his death sentence. From 7 to 8, he was visited by Father Sadera and Father Visa, and the Sacred Heart of Jesus that Rizal carved while he was in Ateneos returned to him. At 9, he was interviewed by Santiago Mataix for El Heraldo de Madrid. From 12 to 3, Rizal was left alone in his cell, wherein he wrote the last farewell, which he hid in the alcohol cooking stove. At 4 p.m., Rizal's mother arrived, and when they parted, he whispered to Trinidad that there is something hidden in the stove. At 8 p.m., Rizal had his last supper, and informed Capitan Dominguez that he forgave his enemies, including those who sentenced him to death. At 10 p.m., Rizal wrote his retraction, where he abjured Masonry and his anti-Catholic ideas. At 3 a.m., Rizal heard Mass and confessed his sins. At 5:30 a.m., he wrote a letter to his family and to his brother Pasiano. He handed Josephine the book Imitation of Christ, which he signed, "To my dear unhappy wife, Josephine." At 6 a.m., he wrote another letter to his parents, thanking them for all they had sacrificed. And at that, Rizal was prepared for death. At 6:30 a.m. of December 30, 1896, Jose Rizal was prepared for execution. He was accompanied by Lieutenant Andrade, 2 Jesuit priests, as well as several more soldiers. He was dressed in a white shirt, black suit, derby hat, black shoes, and a black tie. Like any execution by musketry, drums filled the air. Upon entering Bagong Bayan, Rizal bid farewell, was blessed by a priest, and kissed the crucifix. He requested the commander to be shot facing them, but was refused. Upon inspection by a Spanish doctor, Rizal's pulse was normal. Upon fuego, Rizal made a supreme effort to face the firing squad. And at 7:03 a.m., nationalism was born.